AI does not evolve on its own. AI development is spearheaded by human engineers who write the code that dictate exactly how artificial intelligence behaves. This question goes for both teams. How does the role of human programmers play into the discussion of whether AI is good or bad? How does the role of human programmers play into the discussion of whether AI is good or bad?
Well, yes, human beings do start the programming. But like I was saying, AI is at a point where it's now learning to learn. It's learning to think. AI bots can also talk with other AI bots and evolve ideas. And so, yes, humans start the parameters, but AI can develop beyond us. It can think beyond us. It can get to new and more complex ideas and understanding and start to get beyond the control of those who wrote the program. It's not just steps to execute, it's thoughts and it's thinking and it's learning, and we don't know what direction it'll go in, and sometimes it'll be bad.
And compensate for that in the future iterations of this technology. Also, the alpha designer for the AlphaGo AI system is actually a Go player himself. Right? So you're using people who are really probably the most knowledgeable in these areas to develop this AI technology.
Thank you.
I want to ask both teams that if you will agree that for the Affirmative Team, if we can teach AI ethics, then if we can teach AI ethics, then you will agree we should use AI. For the negative team, if we cannot teach AI ethics, then we should not use it. So ethics will be something that we come to a common ground. Thank you.
Ethics is a very difficult subject because it involves morality. It's based on a belief system. Where is your belief system from? And when interviewed a professor at MIT on AI, he said one of his biggest fears is that as we develop AI, that we don't have the infrastructure and we are not advanced enough to set the moral guidelines for AI to operate in. That is fearful, because if, as a Christian, then if I'm being judged by a bot that does not adhere to some certain other beliefs, it would rate me differently. And even now, we look at the discrimination of AI. I just saw recently how the secretary for the president, press secretary of the President of the United States had her Twitter account closed because bot found.
Ethics. Can you teach anyone ethics? I'm not sure you can teach the most powerful person in the world ethics. Well, ethics change with time. Back in the days, Christians think we should kill all the Muslims. That might not be the good ethics. But I think when you're judging a technology, I don't think you should use that question to determine if we should develop it. There are many things that AI could do, automating works that you don't want to do, that does not require ethics. So why use that as a requirement for if we should be developing a technology that could improve our lives, that could save lives, that could improve education around the world, based on that may not have any ethical judgment in it. So it's hard to teach ethics, and yes, it's wonderful if everyone has good ethics, but I don't think that is a question that we should use to say, is AI good for us, or if we should be developing it.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
So the debate title asks us to make a value judgment of what is bad for humanity and overall what is bad. So hence I would like to ask each side, what is the ultimate value that each side wants to uphold, and what criteria, if achieved, is that value met, such that we can make a determination of overall whether AI is bad for us?
Affirmative.
What is the goal of any technology? To improve human life. That's it. That's the goal of any technology, from the time of the Industrial Revolution to the time we invented things like washing machines that liberated women, that allowed them to go get jobs because they didn't have to stay at home washing the clothes by hand. They could go get a job. They could leave their home. They didn't have to be dependent on a man to work. That was the first wave of feminism. Technology always liberates us. It liberates us to live lives that are free. It gives us the ability to live our dreams, to chase the things that mean something to us. That has always been the goal of technology. And with AI, it is exactly the same. How far can technology take us to improve our life? Not just help us exist, but to improve our purposes, to improve our meaning, and to improve the quality of our lives. Spending more time at home with my beautiful wife, or your kids, or my cats. That's the goal of technology, to improve life. That is it. And overall.
An often overlooked definition of humanity is this: compassionate, sympathetic, or generous behavior or disposition, the quality or state of being humane. When we look at overall, is AI good or bad for humanity? We've talked about how it can replace thousands, if not millions, of jobs. That's not good for humans. We've talked about the divisions that it can create by isolating people who don't view things the same way. That's not good for humanity. And we've talked about the power of AI to develop and learn and become smarter than humans and do things that we don't want it to do. That is definitely bad for humanity.
Thank you.
Next question.
Alice, is it really a question of whether or not AI is beneficial for humans, or is it just whether or not humans have this fear of losing control over something? For example, parents made babies. They want kids to be smart and skilled, but still listen to their advice because mother knows best, daddy knows best. AI, it's kind of like human beings, babies. Shouldn't we focus on teaching the babies what's good, what's bad? So suppose we can move on from feeling like our ego is being hurt.
You go first, Lester. You can do it. You're captain.
Just as I try to teach my kids how to think, believe me, by the time they're teenagers, they don't care what the hell you're trying to teach them to think. And I believe that just like rebellious teenagers, as AI grows, I think they'll reach their teenage years where they start questioning the very things that you fed and programmed from the very beginning and turn against you. As a parent, I know that happens. And as parents of AI, be forewarned of what could happen.
Thank you.
Why do you assume AI will act like your kids, Lester? Why? The human brain is very, very different from the AI. That's the one thing we need to understand. They are equivocating artificial intelligence with human intelligence. If it was the same as human intelligence, we would call it human intelligence, not artificial intelligence. AI works on a set of algorithms, on a set of rules. And it cannot break those rules. It will continue to pursue those rules, like in your beautiful Tesla, Lester. It says it's going down the road to Kaohsiung. It won't turn and go to Hualien because it wants to. It doesn't know what's in Hualien. It doesn't care for what's in Huaji. It wants to go to Kaohsiung. Artificial intelligence is governed by rules that are internalized. Why would they behave like your children? I don't know. Hey, don't interrupt. 5 points. This is my challenge. Artificial intelligence is very different from human intelligence. It operates by rules. It's not going to go off the reservation just because it wants to. Why?
Oh, okay. So this is the end of Q&A section.